Hey there everybody, and welcome back to the next video in the updated How to Create a Social App for Free playlist. Now, up until now, we've basically created the entire app. We are winding things down at this point, so today's video is basically finalizing the boards. So, in the last video, we made the boards. However, we did not make a way to view the boards and the content contained in them. So we are going to go through building this today. Now, as we've done previously, we are going to look at a demo of this just so that we understand how this functions. So before we get started, don't forget to like and subscribe and check out the channel for new content. And again, if this process seems a bit difficult, you can purchase this fully created app over on codelessfix.com. All right, so jumping straight in. We have 3 boards here. The images load when there is a URL that has been saved. The functionality, you click update, you can start a board if it does not already exist. If it does exist, you just type in the name of the board and you click save changes. This updates your profile so that this is actually saved to the board or to the actual profile. Now, one thing I'm not sure that we covered completely in the last video, because I basically had to split this video up, is, or technically 2 things. First, when we go to update our profile, we need to make sure that we're not overriding these chats. So we'll do that first. And what I mean by that is, when we type in content here, you're going to notice that we're not saving chat 1, chat 2, and chat 3. So we want to make sure we're not losing that data. Second, we're going to make sure that when we click on board 1, something actually happens. So let's go ahead and jump in here. First thing we're going to do is we're going to head over to the My Account page. Now, this is logic that we've already technically built, but just to make sure you've connected everything and we're setting everything the way that we should. When this page loads, we need to add in the current logic, and I would recommend following along with this even if you set up the My Account page the way that I had it, just to make sure that the variables are set correctly. So, on the My Account page, first thing we're going to do is drag over in the page layout. Page mounted, we're going to connect the getCurrentUser function. And then on the top node, we're going to choose the set app variable option, which we already have and have been using. So we're going to connect this, and we're going to set the variable app variable temp profile URL. And we are going to set this as we've been doing, and we're just going to set it to getCurrentUser, and we'll go down to UID. Again, this UID is basically stored by Firebase to a user's account. We haven't set this up. This is basically native to Firebase, so to speak. And then we're going to connect the output to the data get record profile details. Now, if at this point you're having issues with this get record function, one thing to note is this is actually this section right here. So when you go, this is called the data configurator. So you just click on the data tab, and then you find your resource. In this case, we're looking for profile details. So you'll find that resource. Now, we have the base URL here. You want to make sure that that is correct, and that you have the correct project name here. And then you can go to the get collection and paste in the /profile details, which we've already done. And firstly, you want to run the test and make sure you get data back. If you do, you can set the schema from response and save if you need to. But going to get record, you want to make sure that this relative path is correct. And then we're using /profile details like we did in get collection. But then we're going to do / and then the letters ID in brackets. Now, when we go to test, you can't run schema from response because you need an actual ID. So in this case, if you want to test it, you can go over to Firebase. You can go to Firestore Database, and then you can go to chat 1, or actually we're going to profile details. I apologize. So we'll scroll through. You find profile details, and you'll have a couple here because we've already been using this. So if you want to find a way to copy this, you can go up here And in the URL, you're looking for where this letter starts when you've selected it. So you don't want to select everything to the right of profile details because there's sometimes additional characters. In my case, there is a 2F. So I'm copying from where the O starts, and yours will be different, but you're just copying all of this text. That way I can hit Control-C, and now I can paste it into this ID field. Now we can click Run Test, and you'll see that we actually get a record back. So if you want, you can set schema from response and click Save, and now you have the profile details get record working. So that's just a quick note. So in this case, if you don't have that set up, then the get record won't work. So in this case, again, you just go and make sure, for example, to show you one that wouldn't work, if we go to category 1 and choose get record, if I had not enabled this method, none of this would be here and I would not be able to get a record for it. So you can see that some of these will already have it set up. I don't know if I can find one that doesn't already have it enabled. So the general idea here is make sure that you have that get record field set up properly. And then what we are going to do is, since we are on the My Profile page, we are going to go ahead and finish this up. So you're going to get record and choose the resource profile details. The ID is going to be a formula, and we're just going to set it to the app variable for temp profile URL. And then we're going to do the following. We're going to set page variables, chat1, chat2, and chat3. If you don't already have them, go ahead and create them. And you're going to set chat1, and we are going to set it to what you probably guessed, output of another node, get record, and we're just going to find chat1 string value and click Save. Then for chat2, which is the page variable for chat2, we are going to choose, I'll choose output of another node, get record, and I'm sure you guessed it, string value for chat2. And you'll repeat the process for all three. And what this is doing is on page load, this is storing those chat variables or values. And now you need to make sure, last thing for this profile page, for the update button, we have to make sure that this logic is set correctly. So when you're doing your final post, you'll see right here, we have the delete, and it's deleting our data. Right here, where we're posting the new data, make sure your URL is correct. And then what you need to do is make sure that in your request body, I'll paste this in the description of this video again if you need it, but we have the chat3, chat2, and chat1 page variables to make sure that we're always posting it when we update our profile in this page. So now you can save your changes. And as one final brief check, we will go back to the boards page. And when we're here, we will go to update boards, and we're going to see the final update button. And again, here you're just going to make sure that when you're updating the exact same values as what you do on the My Profile page. And then again, make sure that on page layout, you have all of these set correctly. So what this is doing is every time we load a page, whether it's on the My Account page or in the boards page, we're grabbing these three chat URLs and saving them. And then every time we update our profile, we're sending all of the profile data every time. That way nothing is lost. We don't want to send empty values and erase what's already there. So now let's go into board 1 and get this set up. So when we created this boards page, we have these three that should already be set up, and each of them opens a page in our app called board 1, board 2, and board 3. So we'll build board 1 together, and then you can copy that to board 2 and 3. So for board 1, we have the navigation menu pasted in. We have our icon highlighted and the formatting for the navigation bar to show what page we're on. And then we have the title, board 1, the text, see all comments below. And in this particular case, I am not using a data variable in repeat, like I did previously where we repeated the container. Instead, I'm using the get record functionality. So I will show you exactly how this is set up. So in this case, you'll see we have a couple of containers. So container 3 down at the bottom doesn't have anything in it. It's just more of a space holder. Then we have this button that says post. And then up at the top is where a lot of this activity takes place. So you'll see this top container is just the navigation menu, so we can collapse that. The bottom container is going to be the one that has all of our actual content. And then, again, that's where basically all of this work is going to be done. I chose to do it in a container. That way I can copy it over to the next few pages. So this is where literally everything is happening. So in the beginning, you'll see, again, title 1 and see all comments, because I want these to carry over to the next 2 pages. And then you'll notice we have a very large number of rows. So you'll see row 11 is all the way down here, and that is this row here. Each of these rows are identical as far as the content in them, but the data that's populating is different. So in our container, we have this text here that says board 1. We have this text here that says see all comments below. And then we've added these 10 rows. Again, if you want to do this from scratch, you would just bring in a container. And then in that container, you would drop in your title text. You would drop in the text after. And then you would drop in your row. And then you would just continue that process. Drop in another row. Now the tricky part is, as you can see, sometimes you can miss and drop it in. So to make it easier, you can just drop it in this tree over here. So we'll scroll all the way down. We'll grab the row and we'll drop it in. Now I drop it in reverse order because if you drop it in, sometimes you can actually drop it into the cell instead. So I found it easier just to drop it like this. So to make that easier, we'll grab the row. And what we're doing is we're looking for our container, which I think I may be missing it. So we have container 8 here, and then we grab the row, and then you can just drop it in right underneath text. And then you can basically repeat the process. If you drop a row above a row, it's pretty easy to work with. Or if you collapse the row, it can be relatively easy to work with. And again, you're just going to add in 10 rows. And then you know you did it right when you expand the container and everything appears. So let's go through the content of my container up here. So once you've added your 10 rows, again, they're all going to look the same. And what they're going to have inside of them is you have cell 1 on the left. That's going to have a text field and an image. And cell 2 is just going to have text and text. And then it's the same for the next row. Text, image, text, text. So I'll make this just to show you exactly what I've done. So in here, I have a title field. I have text. And then I have a row that I've dragged in after. So we'll scroll down and make it a little bit cleaner. So we have a row here. And if you want to speed this up just a bit, you can hit on this row and hit Control-Z and Control-V, or the copy-paste equivalent in a Mac. And you can do this as many times as you need to. And now you'll notice all of a sudden we have all of these rows inside of this container. And as I said, I put in an image here, and I put in the text underneath. Now you may be thinking, why not just copy and paste this instead? And that's absolutely what you can do. So the beauty of working with these containers like this is you can just copy the container and delete it. So we'll do that one more time to show you the quickest and most efficient way. We will drop in row 1 and we'll build it first. So we're going to add in our image, add in our text, and then add in the double text in the row to the right. It'll start to resize and look a little odd. Don't worry about that. We need to make sure that we set the size for our image. So in this case, we're going to set the width and height to 100 pixels. So we'll select our image, and then we'll go to width and height, custom, and then we'll click set width, and I'm setting mine to 100. You can choose whatever works best for you. And then set height, pixels, 100, enter. And then we have this set. Now it's going to look a little off. Don't worry about that. This is just the sample size. Now that we have created this row inside this container, we can hit Control-C, Control-V, and now we're copying everything with formatting. And now you'll see your screen should look like this. You have row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4, and it just keeps going down. And all of this is set within a single container. So now let's start changing it up a bit to make it look like ours does. Now that you have this container going all the way down, the first thing is the text in each cell that is directly above the image. You'll see mine is, it looks hidden, but I'll explain why. It's actually tied to a page variable. So when your image is tied to a page variable, the app won't show anything because there's not anything to display. So if you remember the cell on the left-hand side, we're just going to make the content 1 for the text. And then we're going to repeat this all the way down the page, but we're going to increase it. So in the left side, there is a cell with text and an image. Text in the next cell is going to be 2, and then 3, 4, 5, etc. And then for the image, we're going to make a page variable, and we're actually going to make 10, and we're going to call them image 1 through 10. So what we'll do is we'll click here and go to page variables, and you'll see I have page variables image 1, 2, 3, 4, all the way to image 10. So when you click on your image, set your size to 100 by 100, which you've already done. And then properties, you can go to source, formula, and type in pageVars.image1, and you'll see it'll give you an error. Don't worry about it. This variable will ultimately be a URL, and it will populate something, or it should. So at this point, we're only doing the cells on the left-hand side of the page. The first one is going to be the number 1. The image is going to be pageVars.image1, which is the source. Then the next one, we're going to do the number 2. The image is going to be pageVars.image2. And then the third one is the number 3, and I'm sure you guessed what that source is going to be. We repeat that process all the way down the page to number 10, and you'll see right here, pageVars.image10. So you can go ahead and pause the video and work your way down the left side, and then resume the video and we'll start down the right side. All right, so on the right side, we have 2 text fields, and you'll see we have 2 options, posted by and variable 1. So at this point, you'll see we have variable 1, variable 2, variable 3, variable 4. So this is actually really easy to set up because this is the name by default. So if you go to add a page variable, you'll see mine starts with 11 because I already have 1 through 10. So if you go to add page variable, you'll see it increments upwards. So at this point, you just need to add a page variable. It'll start you off with variable 1. Just keep clicking add page variable until you have variable 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up to 10. So when I scroll down, you'll see that I have variable 1 and the ones that I just added, but I have 1, 10, and then I have variable 2 through 9. So you'll have variables 1 through 10 is all you need to know. So as you're scrolling down, now that we're working our way through the columns on the right side or the cells on the right side, the first text is going to be tied to page variable, and then you're just going to choose variable 1. So you have to scroll through and find 1. And then we're going to go down to the next cell just because we're trying to stay in an efficient train of thought. And we're going to do the next cell. And again, we're skipping down to where we're at number 2. This cell, we're going to make the content and we're going to bind it to page variable 2. And then we're going to go to 3. and bind this to page variable 3. And then 4, and you're going to bind this to page variable 4. You're going to repeat this all the way down the page to here and do page variable 10 for this one. So now we're kind of wrapping up some of this, and it'll start to make sense. Now the last thing for the data that's being displayed is posted by. So in this case, you'll see when I click on the formula, it's going to static text or have static text saying posted by, and then we're going to have posted 1. And then this one is static text posted 2. So now we're going to go back to page variables, and as you scroll through, you'll see I have page variables posted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way through 10. All of these right here. So go ahead and make posted 1 through 10 page variables. And then you can copy this text. So if you click on formula, you're going to paste in the text in quotes, posted by, semicolon, space, and that way, when we go to the board, you'll see it'll say posted by, and then the username. So in this case, have the text posted by, semicolon, space, and then quotes, and then you're going to put space plus space, and then you're going to type pageVars.posted1. Now remember, if you're looking for a little bit of a cheat sheet, you can just type in pageVars dot, and all the page variables will appear here, and you just find the posted one, and you're good to click Save. And then you're going to copy this formula, and you're going to paste it in the second text field on the right side, and you're going to paste it in and put posted 2. Then you're going to go to number 3, go to the cell, the second text on the right cell, and paste it in and choose posted 3. So now you're going to repeat that all the way down up until 10, and you're going to put posted by pageVars.posted10. So I know that this was quite a bit of repetitive content, but I'm going to show you ultimately what this looks like. So the way that this is laid out is if you have a board that's set up, it's going to have numbers 1 through 10 on the left, and then underneath each, anytime there's a picture, there will be an image right here. On the right-hand side will be the text that a user writes and who it was posted by. So in this case, what we can do is we can go grab a sample picture, and let's test this out together. Now, you can't actually test it on your end until we have the post button set up, but I do want to show you what this would look like if you were to actually get this set up. So we are going to update post 1 first, and you'll see now we have a little image, and it says post 1, and this is my username that I'm logged in as. Now, if I decide to update post 2, and let's just say I want to call it post 2, and I want to update image due with this same image, and I click post. Now when I scroll up, we have post 2, the image, post 2, and posted by. And then this will repeat all the way down the page. I already have some sample data in here, but this kind of shows how this will look. So now we're going to save all of our changes, and then we're going to set it up so that we can actually make a post. So we're going to scroll past all of our rows, and you'll see that it stops right here, which have all of our cells contained within. And then we have a list divider, and we have a container here that's actually used just for spacing. So when we're on our board page, you'll see when we scroll down, we have a list divider and a little gap right here. That's what that container's for. And then after the list divider and the container, we have a row with 2 cells. And in each cell, we have, in cell 1, we have 2 drop-downs. In cell 2, we have 2 input fields. So you'll see this is cell 1, it has these 2 drop-downs, and this is cell 2, it has these 2 input fields. So to do that, again, you can just drag over a row. You can put in the drop-down field 1, drop-down field 2, input field 1, input field 2. And then you can double-click each, go to Style, and change the background color. And you can do that for all 3, or all 4 actually. And then when you're done with that, you'll need a post button, but it won't be inside of those. So this row, when you've completed it, you can drop it into this giant container here if you want to. If it's easier to keep it separate, you can. I like to keep it all together so I can copy and paste across pages, but because we have so much content on this page, it can be difficult to manage. So manage that however you see fit. But once you're done with everything, it's probably going to be easier to drop it into a single container and then copy that container to your other board pages. So at this point, you should now have these 4 fields. So in drop-down field, this one right here, I've called it post to update. The selected value is a page variable called category number. And then we have a custom list of 10 items. Now, because I numbered each of these 1 through 10, it's very, very easy. Remember that the label is what shows to the user, so it doesn't really have an impact on the work that you're doing. The value is what we're using when we actually try to make the post. We're going to say, if it's value 1, post this. If it's value 2, post this. So you can name the labels whatever you want through this whole page. What we need to make sure of is that we have values 1 through 10, or 1 through whatever number you decide to have on this page. So we need to allow the user to update each of the posts. So in this case, it may be easier to start off with, you can just click add another value, and then you would just add 10 and have the label 1, 2, 3, etc., and the value be 1, 2, 3, all the way to 10. But again, as long as you have the values in the numerical order in order, you'll be able to work through it, and you can call the labels whatever you want. So we'll save this. And again, it's bound to category number as the page variable, so you can add that now. Then for post content, we're going to bind this to a page variable called post content, and you'll need to create that now. And then you'll call it post content, and that's all you need to do. For image URL, we'll call it image URL, and you're going to bind it to the page variable pageImage, just like we did here. So we'll call it pageImage, so you'll need to go ahead and create that and then bind it here. And then lastly, or second to last, we're going to do picture to update. So we're going to call this picture to update, and we're going to bind this to the page variable that you need to make now, and we're going to call it picture number. Our custom list is the exact same as the last one, except at the bottom, I add one more field to update the page image. So in this case, I have label 1, value 1, label 2, value 2, all the way through label 10, value 10, and then I have label page image, value 11. So that's what's set here, and again, it's bound to the page variable picture number. So now we'll scroll down, and you'll see at this point, the only thing we have left on this page is the button. And then again, if you haven't already set it, you'll need to make sure that you set up the page logic, which we're going to do at the end of this video, so don't skip that part because that's going to be critical. So we're going to set up the logic for the post button, and I know that this looks like a lot, so I do apologize in advance, but you'll understand why the logic is needed. And again, if at this point you're just thinking this is too complicated, you can always buy this app from codelessfix.com and import it straight into appGyver. All right, so here's what we're going to go ahead and do. We'll walk through what this logic looks like, but the good news is you're going to be doing a lot of copying and pasting. As you'll see, this, and this are all going to be pretty relevant, and they tie into some more relevant options here. and then followed by the request. So I would recommend pause the video here because this is, again, going to be a lengthier process, but let's just go ahead and jump in. So you will have added your button that says post, and here we will just click and add into the component tab an HTTP request. I'll paste this URL in the description, but it's going to be this URL here, and it's just pasting it to chat 1. And then we have the URL. And this is a delete. So I'll paste that in the description. And then we are going to do an if condition. So what we're doing is we're deleting the record in the database, and you may want to do these in a different order just to be safe, but I'm deleting the record, and then we're doing a series of checks. So the first check is going to be an if condition. So you'll drag that over, and the top part, you'll connect to a toast message and click select number to update. So you'll type that in. And here's what the if condition is going to say. Is underscore empty in parentheses pageVars.category number. So what we're doing is checking to see if the category number is empty. If this is true, they're going to get the toast message. If it's false, we're going to start this long series of checks. So we're going to walk through the first one start to finish, and then I'll explain how you can get through this a little bit quicker. So if this is false, we're going to go to this if condition. So if pageVars.category number space equals 1 in parentheses, then we're going to set page variable, which is variable 1, to post content. And then we're going to set page variable posted 1 to username. And then we will set this if condition here. So we'll do this separately. We're going to build out this first window first. So go ahead and drag over an if condition, set page variable, and set page variable, and put them side by side just like I have here. You're going to want to go through and do this 10 times. So the if check is going to be as follows. You're going to take this and you're going to type in pageVars.category number space equals space in parentheses 1. And then you're going to do set page variable and set page variable. Connect these, and then you can actually highlight the 3 and click Control-C and paste, and you can actually scroll through and paste them. And then you can paste more over top. So you can actually copy and paste multiple just like I'm doing now, and then you can connect them and click them and change the content. So at this point, copy and paste it until you have 10 of this exact series, and then we're going to connect them exactly as I have it set up. So this one, and this one will all be connected. So your if condition, the positive or top node will be connected to page variable, which will be connected to set page variable. When you copy and paste it 10 times, that should be the same all the way down. The next thing you're going to do is connect the false on the first if condition to the next if condition. And then you're going to connect the false in that one to the next one, that one to the next one, all the way down to the very last one where nothing is going to happen. So now the flow is set up. So here's how you're going to work through this really quickly. The first one is checking if the page variable category number, which you've already set up, is equal to 1. If it is, we're going to set page variable, variable 1, to post content. And then we're going to set page variable posted 1 to username. Then you're going to go through to the second one, and you're going to set it up to pageVars.category number equals 2. So you're repeating all of this logic that you just did for the first line, but you're doing it for number 2. So it's going to be pageVars.category number space equals space 2 in double quotes. You're going to set page variable variable 2 to posted content. So posted content stays the same. And then you're going to do the same here. You're going to set posted to appVariables.username. So here's why this works this way. This is post content, so this is never going to change. But what will change is the page variable that we're updating. And then posted by would also just be your username. So that's why username and posted content don't change, but everything else does. So to update your page quickly, go down. You should have had this copied. So it's going to go to pageVars.category number space equals equals space 1 in double quotes. And then it's going to be the exact same, but with the number 2. And then we'll go down to the next one, and it's the exact same, but the number 3. This is going to go all the way down this page to number 10. So go ahead and pause the video and do that. Then you're going to go through and do the same thing, but you're going to set variable 1 to posted content. Then you're going to set variable 2 to posted content, variable 3 to posted content, all the way down to variable 10 to posted content. Then we have posted 1, username, posted 2, username, all the way down to posted 10, username. Now in this case, we have the page variable as posted content, but you'll see I've used the app variable username because we've been using that everywhere else in the app. So to be consistent, this is using all of these posted by are using the username app variable. Once you've built all of those out, I'd recommend pausing the video and take a quick break. And then at the end of each of these set page variable options, all of them are going to connect to this single if condition here. So when you're done, again, this is the page that we just built. So you can look at all of these. You'll scroll over, and the end of each of these page variables connect to this single if condition here. And once you've done that, you can kind of scroll your page over, and you're going to do an if condition and a page variable set. And you're going to basically, you'll copy these, and then you can just, again, paste, 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 and you'll repeat the same process that we just went through. And in this case, you're going to do it 11 times. Now at this point, I'm sure you're pretty sure of where we're going. So in this case, the if condition is going to be very similar to what was on the left. So we have if condition, and it's a formula, and the formula is pageVars.picture number this time, space equals equals space, in quotes, the number 1. So you're going to do that on the left-hand side. So go ahead and copy 11 all the way down. And then the next thing, just to be efficient, connect the true should already be connected to the set page variable because you've copied and pasted. Once you've copied and pasted them all the way down, and you'll have 11 just like this, connect the bottom node of each if condition to the entry point of the next one, just like I have here. Again, all the way down. And then the last one connects to nothing. And then our if condition for the first one, you'll type this out, and you're going to do exactly what we did before. Go to the next one, and just change the number 1 to number 2, number 3 to number 3, all the way down, and then the 10th one is going to be number 10. The only difference is this very last one is going to be pageVars.picture number equals space, or space equals equals, but this one is going to be 11. The reason this is 11 is in our drop down for picture to update, we have this 11th image option here. Now we're going to go to the variable, and we're going to go to set page variable, and we're going to do image 1, and we're going to set it to page image. So we have bound it to page variable image 1, assign value, page variable, page image. Then the next one, set image 2, page variable, page image. Do that all the way down to image 10, page image. And then the last one is you're going to need to add a page variable right now called currentpageimage and bind that to the page variable. And then the assigned value is pageimage. So basically what we're doing is we're doing a check of if this is set to 7, update the 7th image to whatever's here. If this is set to 4, update the content with whatever is set here. Then, again, the last one, add a page variable on your page called currentpageimage, and then assign it to pageimage. And then we are almost done with the basics, or the hard part, I guess I should say. So the last thing is you're going to connect each of these set page variables to a single data request. And then we have a toast message. So in the data request, both of the what I call negative nodes, the failures, you'll connect to a toast message saying error, please try again later. And then in parentheses I say your account details may be incorrect, just in case there may be a problem. Now here's what the data request is going to say, which I will put in the description of this video. So we are posting to this URL, which is in the description of the video, which is the post URL for board 1. And we are posting this content. Now this is a lot. You're probably going to want to edit this in Word. I would not normally recommend that, but I've noticed in appGyver sometimes when the request length gets a little bit longer, there can be some issues when you're making edits. So I'm going to show you what we're doing. We are setting page variable. We're basically posting everything that we have. So the only time you're going to need to make adjustments to this is if you decide that you have more or less than 10 of these fields. So you'll see what we are sending to Firebase is chat1 variable 1. So in Firebase, it's going to say chat1, and then it'll have the page variable variable 1. It'll have posted by 1 in Firebase, and it will show the page variable for posted 1. In Firebase, it'll say chat2, and it will display the page variable variable 2. And then in Firebase, it'll say posted by 2 and have the page variable posted 2. If you scroll through and continue down, the only times you'll see some changes are we have pageimage, which has pageVars.currentpageimage, and a couple of other things. So again, I'll paste this in the description for the video because it is a little bit lengthier. And then we get our toast message if it fails. You can add a toast message if it succeeds if you want, or make it go back to the previous page. Entirely up to you. So at that point, we're in the clear as far as posting the content. So what we're going to do at this point is I'm going to actually stop the video here. We'll make this final page the 3-part series because the next video is going to be covering the page load logic. If you don't set this up when the users access this page, then there's not going to be any data visible. So I hope you enjoyed. If you have any questions, drop them in the comment box below, and I'll see you all in the next video.